Welcome back to the Joshin show. This week we're joined by Hannah and George of Dugard Properties. They're talking about how they got started in property, what lessons they've learned, how they sourced 13 deals in just over a month, and now how they're moving into commercial conversions to get those big, healthy, fat profits. It's an absolutely incredible show with tons of value, so happy listening. Thank you very much for joining me, Hannah and George of Dugard Property. How are you guys doing today?
Yeah, really well, thank you.
Really good, thank you.
So you mentioned you guys at the moment you live on a building site. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah, we recently bought a house. We kept our old one and sold it to ourselves so we could rent it out. So that's got tenants in. So we moved into here. And the plan was I wanted to get the whole place. George said, no, we'll move in and then we'll just do it room by room. We moved in and then George was like, actually, no, we'll get the place. But obviously we didn't line any of our builders up. So we're trying to squeeze them in between jobs, which is meaning it's taken a little longer than I wanted. So at the moment, it literally is a building site. There's no flooring down. There's no doors.
Yeah, that's one thing I would say with your own property as well. As much as you can without making it stressful for your life and stuff like that, it's always good to do something with your own property because it's amazing what you can do. So we've bought our own property through auction and we've bought it for massively below market value, but also we can add huge amounts of value. So we've bought our property for £290,000. But what we can do here is we know that there's a property 2 doors down that's sold for 360, not even done up to the best condition.
Yeah.
So there's equity there that we can just create through adding, through refurbishing it. And now we've looked at properties on the market that are sold subject to contract at the moment, and they're looking at around 400,000. So it's amazing that equity that we can suddenly create from a simple refurbishment, and then if we want to, we can bridge against that equity to be able to create more assets in our portfolio. So I just thought I'd add that in while we were talking about
100%, because that's the kind of, I suppose it's almost a bit complex but creative that a lot of people don't realise. There's probably people that are listening to this that have got unencumbered main residence and are struggling to find cash to buy their next property. So they don't actually know that they're inside their own home. They've potentially got 75% of the value potentially that they can actually put into BRR deals and everything else.
Yeah,
exactly. It's powerful, and it's with your own home as well, like where you're living, and you would have that anyway. But it's just amazing that you could just be sitting on a gold mine and you don't even know that you think, oh, I can never invest in property. Yes, you can. You've got all that equity in your house.
yeah. If not, you can just sell all your belongings and get some cash there.
Yeah.
So that kind of follows on nicely to basically people that are getting started in property. How did you guys get started in property?
So George and I met travelling, and he was living on the Isle of Wight, and I've always lived in Wales. And he was plastering at the time. And one of the guys he worked with came across a YouTube video that he was pestering you to watch, wasn't he? And you watched it, and it was all about rent to rent. And it's the first time we ever really kind of considered property properly, wasn't it? Sorry, the dog's barking outside. And then we started attending some free courses, did a lot of online reading, watching YouTube videos, and really just got hooked on it, didn't we? And you was coming to the end of your plastering, and we went back and forth for so long saying, should we do it, should we not? And then I just ended up pushing the button and sending him a screenshot that I had registered the company and said, you're moving to Wales, you're giving it a go, or stop talking about it.
I didn't really have a choice because at that time I was quite a risk-averse person. Like, I didn't like pushing the button. My mindset's completely changed now. I take calculated risks now. But at that time, I was a really risk-averse person. I didn't want to push the button. So I'd read about loads and loads of stuff, and I'd have these wild ideas as an entrepreneur does. And I'd never want to push the button. But Hannah gave me the kick up the arse I needed. She literally sent me this screenshot of company's house, and she was like, right, you're moving to Wales, and we're doing this. I'm not talking about it anymore.
So no looking back since then, really.
No, it's gone from strength to strength, really, since then, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we've just worked our absolute socks off, and expanded that network as much as we possibly can. Where any sort of situation we come against that is any sort of struggle, we've got that network there to sort of help us. And I think that's one of the most powerful things you can possibly do in property, but in business, in any sort of business, is having that network around you of people that can help you.
Yeah, 100%. It's just kind of small things. Even in one of my properties, I had some kind of the salt, kind of just some mold coming through the wall, and I was like, "Well, I've never seen this before. What is this?" But you just post on Facebook, and there's 101 people that have all been doing this for 20 years, more than happy to help.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The community is amazing, and in business, I think it really is the way you grow is just by having that power team as well. Just like having that builder that's really good, having that having that surveyor that's really good, having that broker that's really good. That you can outsource those parts of the business to grow yours and focus on what your core business is.
Yeah, 100%. So core businesses, you guys, is it predominantly deal packaging in at the moment, or are you doing BRR as well? What strategies are you following?
So we've got about 5 businesses running at the moment. So we've got a serviced accommodation business, we've got a project management business, we've got a training and mentoring business, we've got deal packaging business, but then we've also got our own investment business as well. So we are building up our own portfolios. We're currently just going into some bigger deals with bigger margins as well. So we've just had our offer accepted on a big 8-bed house in Cardiff, which we're converting to 3 flats. And we're looking to go into the commercial to residential field. So we've just done some recent training on commercial to residential, and we have a mentor in that field as well. So that's something we're looking to break into.
Okay, for people that kind of torn between which strategies they go for, kind of how did you guys pick which one you preferred the most, since you kind of got a little bit of experience in all of them?
Yeah, I think when we first started, it was really important we looked at what worked well in our area, what was achievable, and what did we feel comfortable doing. And with Wales, it's Article 4, so HMOs, they either come at a premium, and anyone we've spoke to as HMOs paints the picture that they're a huge headache. So we kind of swerved them to begin with. The BRR model, we realised works very, very well where we're based, and single lets was something we were really comfortable with. So that's kind of how we narrowed that down really easily, didn't we? And then we just find the fun in that now, actually, don't we?
Yeah.
We're moving into some of the bigger deals because of we won the bigger margins. But in terms of BRRs, I think for deal packaging as well with sourcing, it's something investors are comfortable with as well, whether they're seasoned or new to investing, is something they can understand. So it makes it, I think it's just easier all round, isn't it?
Yeah, I think deal packaging was a good way to go as well, because obviously it's low startup, but you learn a lot about everything, and you build this amazing network of people which you can then transfer over to your own investment business. So I think deal sourcing was a good way for us to start. Don't get me wrong, it is a very, very tough job.
God,
yeah. It is a lot of grind, and it's a lot harder than just having your own investments. Because everything you do, you then have to relay to the client, like, difficult conversations if something's gone over in the refurb, all these sorts of bits and pieces. You know how many troubles there are and things that go wrong in property. Relaying that to a client is obviously quite difficult. But yeah, I mean, we enjoy the relationship side of it, and we have enjoyed the process quite a lot, even though it has been very hard work.
So in terms of kind of hard work, is that so? A lot of people, when they just starting out, they think property is passive. Would you kind of very much say, if you want to be successful at property, you've got to scrap that?
It can be, but it takes a long time. And it can only be passive to a certain point, I think.
It's not passive.
There is certain times, unless you've got someone who can manage everything for you, that you've got every single trust in the whole entire world, which is going to be so difficult to let your complete thing be left in someone else's hands. That's the only time I think it can be passive. Because say, for example, you've built up a portfolio and you've got a letting agent in place, they're still going to have to ring you and go, I've got a quote from a plumber who wants to do this for a boiler. Can it be done? And then they'll probably go, the quote's 2,500. You'll go, what?
No chance.
I can get it for 1,500 from Bob down the road. And you know what I mean? Then it's not passive, is it? You're going to have to ring up Bob down the road. So, it can only be passive to a certain point, I think, property.
Yeah, 100%. I'd agree with that. So you mentioned commercial conversions is what you're going after now, and you've got some training and mentoring around that. Kind of how important has that been, and have you had any other training, anything you'd recommend?
So we've been doing Ranjam Bhattacharya's commercial training, and that just opened our eyes to a new world of property, didn't it? Albeit it's very focused on England and we're based in Wales. That's something that we wanted to make sure we got trained in and had someone to bounce our ideas off, because it's a whole new ball game. And with single lets. Obviously with refurbs, yeah, things can go over and things can go wrong, but they can't go drastically wrong, really. You can't go too far wrong with a refurb, whereas obviously doing commercial conversions, if you miss one small cost or one small mistake, that can actually have quite a big impact. And further, we've just had our SAS scheme accepted, so we've combined mine and my dad's pension, and I think there's an extra element of risk when you know you're investing your dad's pension. My mum was giving me daggers when we signed that over, so I wanted to make sure, we were fully trained and we knew what we were doing with that. Our scheme administrator for the SAS pension, he's amazing, and he invests in commercial property himself. So we've got him as an additional two as well, which is quite exciting.
Yeah, I think as well at the beginning, obviously we didn't have much money to start, and we were thinking like, where can we save costs? And one of the saving of the costs was we'll learn everything ourselves. We'll go through all the things online, trudge through all the all the internet sources, all the books and stuff like that. But now we've got like a cash flow coming in, we think like everything's about time efficiency now, and if we can go and get trained from someone who's done all of this and give all their knowledge just in a big bundle like that, we've just leapfrogged our journey. So that's the way we sort of looked at getting trained in the commercial field as well. We just thought everything that we sort of do now, we're thinking about our time and time efficiency.
Yeah, 100%. I'd agree with that. So kind of early days, looking to cut costs as much as possible while you're getting the cash flow. But now fundamentally, every hour you're spending doing something, that's got money attached to it. So you need to just learn from people that have been there and done that.
Yeah.
So I saw on your Instagram recently 14 deals in 35 days.
Yeah.
Tell me about
that. Hard graft.
George is a deal sourcing machine.
Basically, I think the main reason we get that amount of deals is the relationships we've built with agents. When a property goes on the market, or even if before it's gone on the market, they'll ring us and say, look, I've got this deal for you. You've got first refusal. Do you want to come and have a look at it? If it, that before I put it on the market. But even when it's on the market, if I ring up and I go, oh, I'm really interested in viewing this property, they'll get me in before anyone else, and they'll try and work for me to get the property. So they'll literally ring up the vendor and go, look, you could get a higher offer than this if it went onto the market, but I know this buyer, he's absolutely serious and he goes through with his word every single time. You might get $5,000 less, but he's going to be serious. It's not going to be like 3 months down the line and then they pull out because they haven't got the funds or something like that. Yeah. So those relationships that we've built, it takes time. Like it's taken a good 6 to 8 months of really, going through with properties, showing them our word is our word in order to get these benefits. But after that, it really does help. And it's also just having experience of your area as well. Like, for example, we know end value straight away. As soon as we see a property go on, we're like, know the end value for that. We know what rent that will get. Oh, all we need to see now is the refurb. So a lot of the time we can just go ring the agent up because we're friendly with them, say, oh, can I come and view the property? They'll go, yeah, I've actually got a time slot at 2 p.m. today. I'll run there, do the refurb. There's no way anyone's got in there quicker than I have. And then we get the deals, and that's just taken time though to build those relationships and get to that point.
Yeah, and I think it's going back to what we mentioned earlier about having such a good team around you as well. So George can literally George does all the viewing side, and George can literally go to a viewing, come out, send his video walkthrough to our builder, and they'll confirm the refurb on the spot. Ballpark, we can run our numbers, and we're offering pretty much there and then. So having that speed as well, and just people that we can rely on. And we've kind of got quite a seamless system now, haven't we, about how we run things, which, that helps as well. Yeah,
it speeds things up massively, the system that we run as well. And I think social media is a powerful thing as well, because obviously I add all the agents on Facebook. I let them know exactly what I'm up to. I try and show them exactly what I'm up to. So I'm always putting things out on social media, and they see that we're serious. They see how many refurbs we're doing. They see that. So then they follow us and they think, oh, these guys aren't going to muck us around, sort of thing. So social media gets powerful. It's massively powerful on the investor side, but it's also massively powerful on the deal side as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of, as soon as you've done a viewing, you're happy to offer, do you always go kind of in with a lowball, cheeky offer to start with, kind of classic negotiation, your first offer should always be refused? Or do you just be sensible, you know what, bam, give the best offer, and just if they take it, they take it?
I think it's a mix. It's dependent on the property, I think. we'll always go where like the figures work, but it depends what kind of insight the agent's given us as well. If the agent's already told us where the vendor's likely to accept, we'll just go straight in with, if that's where it works, we'll just offer that to get it done.
Yeah.
Sometimes we go in with some cheeky offers.
It depends on the demand as well.
Yeah.
Say for example, like I know that I'm the first person in there. I know that no one else. I know that the agent's driven off after our viewing, and there's no one else blocking up viewings after me.
Yeah.
Then I can go in with a cheeky offer, because the agent's just going to ring up then, and then they, they're going to ring up at that point, and there's no one else behind me. So I can go in with a bit of a lower offer then, because they might come back and go, no, but I'll accept this, or for example. But yeah, pretty much Hannah's pretty much teed it up.
Yeah, perfect. And in terms of building relationships, other than time, kind of what other factors should people take into account? Is it a case of before lockdown going and visiting them every week and asking who's got your deals, taking them some cookies? Is that how you approached it?
We've never really done that. I think agents
only when we've when something's gone wrong in a deal.
Oh god, yeah. But I think agents are a funny kettle of fish, and I think they see and come across so many investors or deal sources who all want to claim they've got thousands of pounds and they're going to buy every property going, that knowing some of the agents, some of them it took us a while to crack. But I think if we turned up each week with cookies, I think they would have just told us to F off. Like,
Yeah.
And I think that's just knowing the agents in your area. I think it was, as George mentioned, it's time, it's demonstrating that you're going to do as you've said, putting in serious offers, and it's a balance. Like when we take on mentees, the first thing we kind of come across is a lot of them will say, how many viewings should I be doing this week? How many do I need to get in and see? And it's not always the number of viewings you do, it's the quality of viewings you need to do. You need to be making sure you're only viewing on properties you're 90% sure you're going to offer on. You want to be offering on all of them, because otherwise agents, you're either going to turn up to all these viewings and never offer, so they're going to see you as a time waster, or you're going to turn up to all these viewings and put in stupid offers, and then they're not going to want to take you seriously anyway. So it's a balancing act to begin with, and then it's just consistency.
And it's just being yourself as well. Like, it's just, don't go in going, I've got thousands of investors behind me. They hear that every day. Just want to go in and be yourself and ask them. You want to basically put them in the position where they're helping you. Look, I'm an investor. I am looking for properties around this area. This is what I'm looking for. Please, can you help me? And then they will want to help you. Don't go in with any sort of ego. You want to play to their ego. You want them to feel like they're helping you.
Yeah.
So just build a friendship. Like, some of these agents are really good friends with us now. Like, we've actually built really good friendships with these agents. I talk to them every day. So how can you not build a good friendship with them? And that's just through being yourself and not being this person who walks in thinking you're the big boy with all these investors and stuff. That you've got to leave that at home. Definitely.
And I think you need to make life as easy as possible with them. Like, you can't phone an agent and say, I'm looking for a below market value property within South Wales and I want to make 20% returns, because of that is so broad, and that involves them actually doing calculations and working out what was, so they just won't even look at that. But if you go in and saying, I'm looking for a 3-bed house in this area, ideally within this price bracket, I will look at anything that needs a refurb. You've narrowed that down so easily that they can literally just go, oh, you know what, I have something. And then they will find something for you. And
you can use the trigger words as well to make people think, oh yeah, I do have something. So you can say something like, have you got anything that's got, really bad damp in it? Then they might go, yeah, actually, well, we've just valued one today. It's coming on the market in a few days. Do you want to come and have a look at it with me now? So, just those trigger words that make people think, yeah, I do actually have something like that.
Oh yeah, perfect. Would you ever offer before viewing a property? Would you ever think, you know what, it's on for kind of 130, you want it for 120? Would you ever just kind of get that in just to see if they're going to accept?
Not at the beginning. When you've got a relationship with an agent to the point where you've actually got a really good relationship with them, then I would speak on the phone to them. I'd go, look, I want to get this in quickly. Can you tell me all about the house on the phone? Can you send me a video? And then, offer. But I wouldn't offer if I haven't seen a video or good photos of every room, because you're literally just playing. Then you could ruin a relationship easily by doing that. But if you've then got a really good relationship with an agent to the point where they can send you a video, they can tell you exactly what's wrong with the property, then I don't see why you can't offer off that. And then as soon as you've got the offer accepted, get your builders in, go in to confirm everything a couple of days later. Because say you do go in and you discover something, then if you've gone in 2 days later, the agent isn't going to mind too much if you pulled out 2 days later. But if you leave it like 2 weeks and then you go, oh, now I'm going to go in and have a look, then they're going to be like, oh, you've left this 2 weeks now. I could have put that on the market. So yeah, it's all about speed, really.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned social media and how it's powerful for getting in front of estate agents and things like that, and also even more powerful for investors. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, social media is just powerful in that if you just put content out on social media, so you document your journey, but you also create content, and you just be yourself again, put your personality across. It's amazing that the amount of people that are following you that you don't even realize are following you, and then they might be following you for 3 months, and then they suddenly come out the woodwork, and they're just like, yeah, I want to invest in you. But so yeah, social media is powerful because if you go to a room, for example, PIN or PPN, and you go and network, it's going to take you 2 hours, 3 hours to work that room, and you're going to have to go around the whole room, and you're probably only going to talk to 20, 30 people. Whereas on social media, we put a post out now and it probably reaches about 2,000 people, which is really, really powerful. And then when we then do go networking, I know we can't do it much at the moment, but when we then do go networking, people feel like they already know us because they've been following our content and stuff. So the relationship's pretty much already built. And that's also powerful in the way that when we put a deal out on our mailing list, we'll jump on the phone to an investor and they'll be like, hey, George, I've seen that you've been doing this thing. They feel like they already know us. They feel like they already trust us. So everything's already done. All we need to do then is just go, these are the figures, here you go. And they trust us already because they've seen what we've been doing on social media. It's
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm here today because I follow you guys on Instagram and see you absolutely crushing it there. Dugard's under the hammer. That's a brilliant. Yeah, it's really, really good content, which is ultimately it just helps you massively, doesn't it?
Yeah, massively.
You really enjoy it, don't you?
It's a massively powerful thing that I think if you're not using it, you're missing a trick.
Yeah. So you mentioned you've got mentees. So tell us a little bit about your kind of mentorship program. How does that work?
Yeah, we've just restructured it into a really new. It's really good actually. We did something similar on someone else's course, and we found it so. I know we keep using the word powerful. But it's quite clever how we do it. So we have moved away from like a one-to-one kind of, although there's still an element of one-to-one, it's more like a one-to-many now. So we have a private group, and it's good because if a lot of people will be coming on, whether they're investing or sourcing, so it's almost like a mini network and community at the same time. They can bounce ideas off each other, they can co-source together, they can help each other. So it's more like they get more knowledge, more help.
And on top of that, every question, sorry, I'll let you carry on in a minute, but every question that they ask, it's in a group setting then, so that all the other people benefit from those questions that they've asked, whereas they may never have thought of that question, and then they're like, oh yeah.
So what it is, we've already got a load of pre-recorded videos that get through the fundamentals. How do you find a deal? How do you analyze a deal? How do you cost a refurb? All of that good stuff, and it's quite a lot of videos, but they're broken down into short and sharp videos. So it's not like an hour long of just waffle, it's to the point. But what we found when we were doing only one-to-one mentoring, everyone would ask the same questions. So we thought, well, all videos, so all those frequently asked questions we'll have videos for, but then if we put everyone into a group setting, if everyone posts their questions into the group, well, as George mentioned, they're normally all the ones everyone asks anyway, so it benefits everyone. And then we've got a weekly call, that's a live call, to keep everyone accountable, keep everyone motivated, set the actions for the week, check in on them halfway through the week, have kind of like a success at the end of the week, and rinse and repeat, really.
Yeah, it works really well.
Yeah, it's kind of different to everyone else in the way they do it, so everyone gets more from it, essentially.
Yeah, that's the way we look at it. It's one of the most powerful things about a training program or a mentoring program is the network you build with the people that are in the same stage as you, that you can bounce ideas off as well. So that community really does excel the journey.
It's the ongoing support, isn't it? It's not just here's video, here's a document, off you go. we're on to the next. It's that, right, you've learnt now, let's put it into practice, and we're here now while you're putting it into practice for you to ask the real questions, and talk us through your real challenges, because I think that's sometimes what you miss when you're on a training course. You can get given all of the good stuff, and then when you face the first challenge, you don't know quite where to turn. So I think that's where the live calls come in really handy.
Yeah, 100%. That definitely sounds like it's very valuable. So that kind of brings us to the end of this. Thank you very much for coming on. It's been hugely valuable. I've got some value from it. I'm sure everyone else listening to this will as well. Incredibly powerful stuff. Where can people find out more about you guys?
Social media, I think we're Dugard Property. Dugard Property, pretty much on everything. We've got a website, George Dugard on LinkedIn, Hannah Robson on LinkedIn, and yeah, just reach out if anyone has any questions.
Perfect. I'll put all the links to all your various social medias in the show notes for everybody to click on and give you guys a follow. But thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
So that's a wrap for this week's show. As I promised, it's been an absolutely incredible show having George and Hannah on it, spreading their wealth of wisdom. It absolutely testifies that hard work does produce incredible results when you do go at it. Next week, we're joined by Neville Wright, who's running through some business tips and most importantly, how he scaled his business to £70 million. But if you've enjoyed this podcast, please do give us a review if you're listening on iTunes, and make sure you're giving us a follow so that you get notified as soon as we post more episodes. Thanks for listening.